Hey, you. Welcome to my quarantine look. But either way, don't you ever just think in the past, like when you last got a compliment? Nah, I was doing that, and then I remembered 3 years ago, that's when I got like a proper one, like a girl shouted, "Hey, baby, when are you coming? I love your haircut." In the moving taxi. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Valentine's is coming up. Let me get something for my partner. And then I realized I have no partner. I'm single. I've, no, it's dry in my DMs everywhere. Ah, cool. Then I'm like, okay, cool. Let me make something for you guys, or women, which you can now give to your people and show them, appreciate them and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll get into that after I finish watching this stream. Check you next time. And let's get going. Right, so what we have here is a representation of what we want our final lab to look like. Okay? And to cut to the chase, here's what we'll have at the end of the video. So, assuming you already have the project created, I would want you to open up your pubspec file and add the following dependencies. So the Google Fonts and the URL launcher. Now go ahead and declare the assets folder simply by uncommenting that line out. And what I have in my assets folder is a picture called girl.jpg, though you could use whichever picture you want. And finally, now you need to tell Flutter that, yo, Flutter, get these packages for me, and I also have this assets folder there. You do that by opening up the terminal and running flutter pub get. So, to get started, all I have is a simple material app where I set the text theme to Pacificum. So essentially this is coming from the Google fonts, which if you remember we declared at the beginning there. Now I'll go ahead and replace container with my homepage, which is a widget I'll create right now. The reason I'm keeping it as a stateless widget is because we won't be modifying any state in here. Now within the build method of our homepage, all we'll return is a scaffold, and also we'll define the screen height and the screen width. The reason we want to use this is such that in case our app was to be used on different devices, then it will look similar. The distance between the widgets will be similar. Go ahead and tell Flutter, you Flutter, in my body I want a stack, okay? And within your stack, all you'll do is place your image widget, which will show the image of the girl from the asset folder. Now we want our image to take up at least 50% of the screen height. Okay, now if we go ahead and hot reload, we'll see that our image is not really taking up all the space we have told it to. For it to do that, we go ahead and specify the fit and give it a box fit of cover. So all this is doing is telling the image widget to make sure that the image takes up all the available space. If we go back to our guide again, we will see that our text is in a column, and what we want is to give our column a radius. And to do that, we'll need to wrap our column in a container. We'll go ahead and start with the container first. You then give the container a margin from the top similar to that, to the height of the image, and you give the width and also an infinite height. In the decoration of this container, you'll want to give it a border radius, and only on the top left and top right will give it a radius. Looking good so far. Now it's time to actually ask this person to be our Valentine. And to do that, simply place the column. And in this column, you can start off with placing the text widgets. Will you be my Valentine? That's all I want. Now it's time to make our custom button. Now our button is simply a text widget which will wrap in a container, and we want to give it a gradient. The reason I wanted to have a gradient is that I wanted to start off from like a lighter red to like this juicy red. You feel me? Now we want to show the heart icon. To do that, simply go to the children of the stack and go below the container. Now there, you go ahead and place an icon, and its icon.favorite. I don't know why it didn't call it heart. But either way, give it a huge size, and as you can see, it's at the top of the screen. The reason it's doing that is because in our stack, we set the alignment to top center. Okay, now simply wrap the icon in a positioned widget and then set the top property so it can actually go away from the top. Now we'll want to go ahead and give our column sort of this blur effect, like it's giving off some light. And the way we will do that is simply by creating a container with some height and giving it some distance from the top. So to do that, we wrap it, of course, in a positioned widget. And the decoration of our container will give it a box shadow, which will allow us to, of course, as the name says, to give it a shadow, and just specify the blur radius and the other properties in there to give off that snow or effect. A quick note about width alpha. What it does is, the higher that number is, closer to 255, then it means your color will be more opaque. But then if it's less, so perhaps 80, then it will be a bit more transparent, see-through. Next up, we want some text to display at the bottom which says, yo, I made this app for you. And by that, you simply go in your scaffold and at the bottom navigation bar, create a text widget. Now this text widget would want it to be aligned in the center, right? And also, since its background is whatever that color is, if you like really look close, we'll want to wrap it in a container and set the color of the container to white. Thereby, it will be the same as everything else on the screen. Now, if you tap on the nice juicy red container of ours, nothing really happens. And what we wanted to do is that when someone taps on it, we want it to open up WhatsApp and send us a message. And the way we will do that is by wrapping our container in a gesture detector. In the on tap, what we do is we create our message and also specify our phone number. Now, when it comes to the URL, you sort of need to parse it with the URI such that it's actually properly formatted, and after that, you send it. And yeah, if it all goes well, then you will see a message on WhatsApp. Now, the following step is optional, but really, if you realize that if you hot restart or you open up the app, you'll see that it takes quite a bit for the image to load up. Now, to get past that is that we'll create a loading screen, so another screen really stateful widget in this time. And all we'll do in the init state is we'll pre-cache the image. Okay, And when that's done, we'll then use the navigator and go to the home screen. The reason we do this is that we don't want our partner to be waiting, just seeing a blank image. No. We want them to get the best experience. Okay? All that's left for you to do now is simply run Flutter build APK. Generates the APK and you send it off to the person. And I don't know, tell them, hey, I'm trying out app development. Maybe please check out this app if it will run on your phone. And I know it will be a surprise to them. And yeah, all the best and thanks for watching.